Dungeon Masters of Reddit. What was the most troublesome PC you had to DM for, and how did they die? Part 2. Alright, I got this. One of my first attempts at DMing was with my fraternity brothers. We had 5 players. The majestic dwarf paladin who acted as the leader of the group. The halfling rogue, who was chaotic neutral, bordering on chaotic evil. The human barbarian who loved to punch things while thinking he was a magician, and a couple others. Approximately 30 minutes into the second session of the campaign, the party was following the trail of a goblin raiding party into what appeared to be a now abandoned farming village about 20 clicks from the port town. After entering the village, the halfling rogue, let's call him R, walked into the local inn after rolling a decent perception check and hearing a faint noise. Before the rest of the party even realized he had left, they hear the thwack of a crossbow firing and striking something rather fleshy. Of course, there was also the screaming. The dwarf pally, let's call him W, ran into the inn only to find what appears to be an old man laying in a pile of his own blood, with a mass of terrified villagers barely visible behind a makeshift wooden barricade. W quickly uses an aura of calming, while the barbarian, D, tries unsuccessfully to stop the old man's bleeding. The villagers, unaffected by the calming aura, start to throw kitchen knives and other household objects at R, accusing him of murdering their village elder, who happened to be a very important NPC for the quest I was about to send them on. R looks me square in the eyes and says, "I want to roll for a bluff check." He nat ones. I promise, he wasn't the village elder. He's a goblin wearing the village elder's face. Following that, he stumbles, and the village elder's ring and pocket watch fall from R's grip. Realizing that he was completely fucked, in part because of the disguised face of W, who is lawful good, R proceeds to make a mad dash for the window. Not having any non-lethal weapons on hand, W decides to throw one of his hand axes at R in hopes of temporarily crippling him so that he can be brought to justice. Unfortunately for R, W also rolled a nat 1 on his attack. Instead of clipping R in the leg as was intended, the axe firmly embeds itself between his shoulder blades, leaving him permanently paralyzed from the waist down. While not dead, he quickly realized that his hopes and dreams for the rest of his life just vanished before him, and slit his own throat. The beauty of this is that I didn't have to do much of anything. The party worked it out all on their own. Eric the generic cleric was played by my buddy Eric. He went and bought the module in secret and suddenly started guessing riddles and traps really well. I got suspicious, so I started arbitrarily switching a few things, like room numbers and trap triggers before each game, and he suddenly went from very successful to apparently the worst player in the world. He took a 100-foot fall shortly thereafter, I'm assuming it's in feet, and somehow managed to roll all 1s and 2s and survived. Lucky, lucky, lucky. He died when real-life Eric crashed his car into a bridge column. What? That's really dark. Rip Eric the generic cleric. No res spells for him. Wow, that got dark really fast. I had set up the world, or at least as far as the PCs were concerned, to be monotheistic, and reskinned all the good gods into various saints of the religion. The only cleric in the party rolled up a chaotic neutral heretic dwarf priest who had crafted a metal skull to cover his hideously scarred face. His backstory said the church caused his suffering, and he was on a crusade to murder them in the name of his god. The other players rolled with normal PCs for the setting, and when confronted with this abomination, they promptly turned him in for a reward. Well, they're not dead yet, but the very first session we played, they told me they were going to play lawful good. An hour and some combat later, and they've got a captured slaver that they just finished interrogating. This is where a lawful good player would, alert the law. Instead, the player opts to crucify the slaver on the wall of his home. That's not lawful good.
No, it's okay. I have an alternate personality, which comes out when I'm mad.
Other highlights include kidnapping, murder for hire, intimidating people into joining the armed forces, just a slew of castrations, punching a hole into the boat the party was in, what the fuck, why? Large-scale genocide, small-scale genocide, allowing a demon to consume a man's soul, getting charmed people drunk for the hell of it, providing hookers to criminals, drugging people's food, getting honorably adopted by a mafia don, and devastating the shit out of the local ecosystem. Fucker still swears they're lawful good. I had a long-time player in a D&D campaign who would regularly not pay attention, which led him to screwing over the group a few times and eventually got him killed. We'll call the player Carl. In one example, the party was fleeing from a local town because they had gotten into a fight with one of the local lord's men and killed him. While on the road out of town, they were approached by several of the local lord's men who rode up on horseback. The party was outnumbered, even though many of the lord's men appeared young and inexperienced. Essentially, the player's party of level 3s were facing a level 5 lieutenant and about 5 level 1 guards. They demanded to know if we were involved in the death of their comrade and wanted to take the party in for questioning. The mouthpiece for the group decided to try a bluff check and rolled a natural 20. Woo! I described the Lord's men's reactions as relaxing in their saddles, and in general, looking a lot less aggressive. The leader of the Lord's men eventually relaxed as well, and became convinced the group was not the group he was looking for. It was like Jedi mind trick? He even asked them to keep an eye out for any suspicious persons. I asked the other players if they were going to do anything. Everyone else was happy with the outcome and said they weren't going to interfere. I looked at Carl and asked him if he was going to do anything. He didn't respond and continued to flip through one of the D&D books. I raised my voice a little and said, "Carl, the lieutenant is in front of you. I need to know if you're going to do anything." He looked up and said, I rolled to hit. Rolled a hit and rolled his damage dice before leaning back on the couch and going back to flipping through the book while the other players stared at him. I am speaking on the behalf of my DM here. We were playing a campaign. There was 3 of us who played regularly, one of which was playing a monk. The DM repeatedly expressed how difficult it was to make meaningful encounters because the monk slaughtered everything. The monk's name was Brandon the 17th. Now, our playgroup has a running gag with mimics, which of course no one was thinking of at the time. We had been at sea for months and stopped at an island midway to our destination. We spent the week there and did a small merfolk side quest. After that was all said and done, I had noticed that there was one extra boat. I had the brilliant idea of splitting the party for greater protection of all the boats. I was playing a halfling wizard at the time, and I was a bit paranoid. So I casted Glyph of Warding on a bunch of ordinary items such as pens, books, and stuff like that. Set to cast fireballs when I said the keyword, "Palms away." Some halfway through the trip, it was revealed that the extra ship was indeed a mimic. Also, a few water elementals boarded some other ships. I had Brandon the 17th use his ring of flight to fly me over to the mimic so I could drop my Glyph of Warding bombs on it. Brandon the 17th flew exactly 21 feet over the mimic so we wouldn't get caught in the blast radius. After consulting with the DM, I was allowed to throw 1 Glyph bomb at a time because I was holding on to Brandon the 17th and I didn't have them at the ready. I dropped 1 on the mimic and yelled, "Bombs away." Of course, brilliant me. Forgot that that was the trigger word for all of them. Oh shit. So I instantly died from the explosion, and Brandon the 17th plummeted down and failed his death saves and died. Thus was the tragic death of the DM's nightmare, Brandon the 17th. Needless to say, the DM was very happy that he died. On a side note, the DM later revealed that the encounter was supposed to be easy, but because of the split, we nearly had a TPK. So take my example and never split the party. Splitting the party never ends out well. This is one that I kind of engineered as a member of the party rather than the DM alone. I played in a group with a paladin who just refused to agree with the party about anything. Sometimes it made sense for a lawful good paladin. Sometimes it was way over the top. He was getting on everyone's nerves, but I was playing as a thief, and we were leveraging that to get some small kicks out of upsetting his character. The last straw for me was after we finished up some minor quest to stop a string of thefts and burglaries for a city. In the end, it was a little kid with a ring of invisibility who we caught. The magistrate, or whoever the legal authority for the city was, decided the kid would go into the stocks for a week or something as his punishment. Our paladin would not agree to that. He insisted on chopping off the kid's hands. Why? No. We all disagreed, saying this was a bad idea. The DM explained that this was neither lawful nor good, obviously, and he was at risk of losing his powers. In the end, he did it anyway. Our reward for the job was the ring, and he immediately fought with the group about who should get it. He felt that it should be his. The rest of the group thought the sneaky rogue, me, should get it. In the end, we agreed to some compromise where we would both have it at times. The next time we stopped to rest, I passed the DM a note that said, "At the next opportunity, I would like to sneak off from the group and buy or have made a gold ring that looks like our new ring." The DM right away said I could do that tonight, no problem. Later down the road, we ran into a dying NPC who had been attacked by raiders. We were on a time-sensitive quest and could not get sidetracked. The paladin insisted that it was his, and by extension our, duty to help them and stop the raiders. This was the final disagreement, to the point that he said he was going to split from the group and challenge them alone. We said that was fine, but when we wanted to leave, he insisted that he get the ring. The group said no. If he was leaving, he could not have it. I calmly said that he could take it. He was going to need all the help he could get. You can see where this is going. He was slaughtered by the bandits and could not figure out how they were able to get him at all. He sat and pouted in the corner until our next combat. When I used the ring, he called me out saying that I had given the ring to him. The DM and I explained that I gave him a ring, but not the ring. Take that, Frodo. Rules, lawyer, wizard. He'd read every method online on how to break a wizard and interpreted every questionable rule as strongly in his own favor as possible. I can't even say he was wrong for sure, only that he didn't need to try nearly so hard given that every other player was a newbie. Anyway, I was trying to avoid making characters light up like Christmas trees with dozens of magic items, so instead I gave fewer more powerful, in some cases minor, artifact items. One of which was a telepathic mithril chain shirt, who was a compulsive liar. It told everyone who came close exactly what they wanted to hear, so they'd put it on. And when he heard it had 0% spell chance failure, he convinced everyone else that it was for sure his. Well, the shirt may have been a liar, but with me rolling secretly, spell failure never came up. He made a pact with eldritch horrors in exchange for more power, and the game ended right around there. Fast forward to our next campaign a year later, which the same player was also in. I figured a powerful mad wizard would be a great big bad evil guy. And why not bring an old PC back? Why not TPK? Or at least there would have been, if not for a lucky spell failure. This time, the party's rogue took the shirt. Hey everyone, Brian here. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to the tavern, boys and girls. Make sure to like the video and again, use that bonus action to subscribe to us. And if you want to stay alerted on any video updates or when we're posting a video in general, be sure to click that bell next to the subscribe button and to follow us on our respective social media platforms, which you could follow us on all of them, that would be nice, but I would suggest following us on Twitter especially, that way you stay up to date with all of our little things that we're doing. And you can check all the links in the description for more details. Plus, it gives you a good chance at claiming that coveted first comment position. We all know you love that. And make sure to check out our subreddit, link also in the description, where you can post any and all stories you want in a new thread or one of many ongoing puppies. And you can also post them in the comments below as long as they're relevant to the actual video title. With that said out of the way, I hope everyone is doing well this month. While reading my stories out tonight, I had the pleasure of being accompanied by my cat, Cuddles. She's named as such because anytime I'm sad or in pain or anxious in any way, she'll be right there to keep me safe and sound as best as she can. So, in that vein, I would like to ask everyone a question, if I may. Do you have a special bond with a pet or an object that makes you feel better when times are rough? Inside or out? Now, I know everyone needs something, and trust me, we really do. Even the rough and tough guys and gals out there, they have a soft heart deep down inside, and they need something too. So never feel bad about ever needing that kind of connection or that security. It's all right. Believe me, all my life I've had to deal with anxiety and stress and a whole host of mental health issues, and the only things that really worked for me came in the form of the past couple years. They were my pets and the love of my life, who I've talked about often and I'm still with, luckily, to this day. But yeah, tell me about it in the comments if you want. Let the world know, because, hey, we're all human out there, right? We gotta keep it that way and stay connected. That's the only way to keep going. Now, I leave you with that bit of love. Stay safe, be happy, and we will see you next time.